Thanks for everybody coming out, man. We've got 2 seminars we're going to do today. I'm excited about both of them because they're both topics that I'm really into. The first one we're going to do this morning is on vibration jigs, a bait like a chatterbait. How many people have fished vibration jigs already? Raise their hand. Awesome. Okay, a little less than half the room. It's an amazing bait. A vibration bait is an amazing hybrid lure, and I want to dive into that. We're going to talk about what makes this technique so awesome. And then in the second half of our seminar, we're going to talk about fall fishing and the trials and the tribulations of catching them in the fall. And it can be tough in the fall because fish are transient in the fall. Fish are moving. So we're going to talk about that in the afternoon seminar. But let's start right here. Let's start with this thing called a vibration bait. And it is a true hybrid lure. Let me real quick give you my introduction to it. And it goes back, way back. I'm going to date myself, Bill. It goes way back to the early 2000s. And I was at a show in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was at a sport show, a seminar. And I got up on the tank, and I was doing my seminar. And I think my first seminar was about crankbaits. My second seminar was about jigs. And in between my seminars, I'd walk around and try to see what guys were selling. And there was a booth called Chatterbait. And I went up to it, and the guy that was designing them came up to me and said, "Man, look at this cool new bait. Man, look at this bait we've got. It's a combination of a jig and a spinnerbait." And I looked at this thing with the blade, and I'm trying to be really nice, but at the end of the day, I'm from New Jersey, and I'm looking at this thing with the blade, this kind of metal blade, and kind of looks like a jig, but it's got this weird thing on it. And I go, "Okay." I threw it on the table. And I kept walking. I kind of looked at it. I'm like, "What the heck is that thing? That's corny. That doesn't make sense. A combination of a jig and a crankbait." Little did I know, years later, this would really change the way I fished in a lot of situations and would occupy a key spot in my boat. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, in every tournament, I'm starting at the Classic, all the way through the AOI Championship next year. So every tournament in 2016, I will have one of these forms of these baits tied on a rod in every tournament. It's how important it's become. It's become as important as a jig, a crankbait, a plastic worm. Really has a place in our system now. So I laughed about it, and now I'm doing a seminar on it. Let's start by talking about if there's an off-limits period for this bait. And there are for a lot of lures, right? Think about a topwater bait. There's some off limits, right? You got to have water temperature in the 50s generally. There's a lot of baits where you're limited when you could throw this. But let's look at the conditions where we could throw a vibrating jig. And I really want to, before we get into techniques, I want to stress to you how versatile this thing is. You know, you mentioned that jig. A skirted jig is probably the most versatile of all time. This is right there with it. It's that versatile, okay? All seasons. I have this thing in my boat from Grand Lake all the way through, from water temperature that's in the 40s to water temperature that's in the 80s and 90s. I'm going to have one of these tied on my boat. So water temperature across the board, seasonal conditions across the board. Water clarity, we're going to get into the type of bait and how we rig it. And through little modifications that we're going to make on these baits, it's good in every water clarity. From crystal clear, smallmouth.
I hope you enjoyed the preview clip, and for more like that and the entire collection, subscribe to the Bass University TV. And if you want the tackle that you see on there, I want you to go to the Bass University Tackle Shop, powered by Tackle Warehouse, and click right here, and it's all at your fingertips.
You want to become a better angler?
You want to catch more and bigger bass at your local pond?
then check out Bass University TV for hardcore bass fishing information.
Hey, I'm Pete Gluzek,
And I'm Mike Iaconelli.
and this is Bass University TV.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Gluzek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests.
Everywhere I go in the country, I'm trying to use these techniques because I catch big fish that way.
From on the water to in the classroom,
We want to use that bait to help make that area even smaller and really find that sweet spot.
you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills.
You want something that's got a nice limber action, that's going to allow you to build pressure and keep those hooks pinned against that fish's mouth.
Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time.
Hold on, because you're going to catch some big fish.
Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best.
That's a key theory in all of fishing.
Subscribe to Bass University TV today.
Man, does it trigger a lot of strikes.
Here's the part that you're not going to hear anywhere else. This is the Bass University TV exclusive.